So right now I'm in Akihabara. Akihabara is well known as an electronic hub and the go-to place for anime and game lovers, where you can also find a lot of capsule machines, arcade games, and crane machines. But that's not the reason why I'm here. I'm here for the food, because some of the best, if not the best foods are located here in Akihabara. So let's go check them out. Our first location is located at the edge of Akihabara, where we are going to get some soba. And inside you will be greeted with the Japanese menu that might be daunting, but luckily you can ask for an English menu. So here I got a typical hot soba with small shrimp tempura. It is a pretty simple dish. A soba noodle with 3 mini shrimp tempura. So let's try the soba noodle first. The noodle is pretty light, you can just slurp it right in easily. Some soba noodle has a grainy texture, but this one has a very smooth texture, and it absorbs the soup pretty well. And as for the tempura, that's like a regular tempura. But what I don't understand is why they put fried food on a hot soup in the same bowl. First, if you don't eat it right away, it will get soggy. And second, if it is left for a while, the tempura batter won't even stick to the shrimp any longer. The soba broth here is really good. It has the typical dashi and soy sauce taste, with a nice citrusy aroma and flavor. This next place is where they sell one of my favorite Japanese food called Gyukatsu. Gyukatsu is basically a deep fried breaded beef cutlet, while the beef inside is still rare. So they provided this stone stove where you can cook the beef however you like it. And once it is cooked to your preference, there are a few ways to enjoy it. First, you can sprinkle or dip it with a little bit of salt, or you can eat it with some wasabi, or another way is by using the condiments they provided. But first, let's try it with a bit of salt. Yeah, that's the way to go. It's really good. The beef is very tender and juicy, and the salt helps enhance the flavor. In the meantime, don't forget to put on the next batch of your beef. Although they cook pretty fast, you don't want to wait after each bite, so don't leave your stone stove empty. Now let's grab a bit of wasabi and then dip it into the soy sauce. The wasabi helps add some kind of heat, but if you don't like wasabi, you can just dip it into the soy sauce. There's also another condiment which I'm not sure what it is, but let's just try it. I think that one is a salad dressing. It's the same onion dressing used for the salad. For me, it doesn't go well with the beef, so it's better to keep the dressing for the salad. And if you chose the second option from the menu, you will get a mentaiko, which is a spicy cod roe. That's a bit salty and spicy. It is not fishy, but it does pack a very strong flavor, and maybe a bit too salty. Lastly, they also have a tororo or a grated yam, which has a sticky and starchy texture. And normally people eat it with rice, but you should try it first before you pour it into your rice, because it might not be for everyone. For our third location, we are going to have something similar with the Gyukatsu, but instead of beef katsu, we are going to have a pork katsu. So I decided to get this hirikatsu, or the prime cut fillet. Hirikatsu is a type of pork katsu that uses the tenderloin, the lean part of the meat. And there are only 4 cuts here, but each cut is very big and thick. So now it is time to try it out. The breading is quite thick, which matches with the meat. The meat is pretty tender considering this is the lean part of the meat, but the taste is pretty light. So I guess it is time to add the tonkatsu sauce. The sauce helps add some more flavor. It is sweet and tangy, and it goes really well with the lean meat. And one unique thing about this store is they have an umeboshi, which is a pickled plum. And I guess you are supposed to eat it with rice. I'm not sure why they have it, but it is pretty interesting. The last place we are going to is one of the best place to get a Tsukemen or a dipping noodle. It is a noodle shop, so they also sell ramen. But Tsukemen is the specialty of this store. And you can choose the thickness of the soup. They have a super rich soup which was a bit too strong for me. So unless you really like an extremely strong flavor, I would recommend to choose their most popular option. And lastly, you can also select the noodle size, where I just realized that they have a 5-time portion size for only an additional 150 yen. So here we have our Tsukemen or dipping noodle, with this thick chunk of pork as the main star of the meal. Just look at how thick this pork is. And it is paired with this very thick broth as well, which is like a concentrated ramen soup. Well, enough of that, it's time to dip in. Let's try the noodle first. Yep, that's the best. It's really good. It is fatty and slightly spicy. And although the noodle is pretty thick, it still absorbs all of the flavors. Now it is time to try the star of this meal. The meat is very tender. It's thick but it's very tender. And although it might look like a very lean piece of meat, it is very flavorful. It is fatty, has a nice smoky taste, and it is so tender that it almost melts in my mouth. They also put small bits of the meat inside the soup, which is a nice bonus. And don't forget to dip the egg into the soup as well. You cannot go wrong with a runny egg yolk combined with a nice thick soup. And lastly, if you still have some noodle, but almost run out of broth, you can either ask for more, which is free, or you can add the soup wari, which is a hot dashi broth, to make it drinkable like a ramen soup. I don't recommend to put a lot of the soup because it will make it less flavorful, but it will transform it into a nice hot ramen with a lighter broth, which is a nice way to finish the meal. So yeah, those are the best food I recommend here in Akihabara. There are certainly a lot of delicious places that I haven't tried or shown in this video. Maybe I'll do it next time. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.